Welcome to our channel. Today, we embark on a journey through the annals of Australian history, a journey that will take us to the heart of some of the most shocking and disturbing criminal cases this land has ever witnessed. These are not mere stories, but stark reminders of the capacity for darkness that resides within the human heart. Viewer discretion is advised, for the path ahead leads us into the shadows. From the tranquil island state of Tasmania to the bustling streets of Sydney, the crimes we'll be exploring have left an indelible mark on Australia's national psyche. They have challenged our perceptions of safety, shaken our faith in humanity, and forced us to confront the uncomfortable realities that lurk beneath the surface of our seemingly peaceful society. Join me now as we delve into the details of these harrowing events, piecing together the fragments of evidence and attempting to understand the motivations behind these heinous acts. The year is 1996. The location, the seemingly idyllic Port Arthur historic site in Tasmania, a place known for its beauty and tragic past as a former penal colony. But on this day, a different kind of tragedy would unfold, one that would forever stain the history of this peaceful island. It began with a seemingly ordinary Sunday morning. Tourists and locals alike strolled through the historic site, unaware of the darkness that was about to descend upon them. A lone gunman, armed with a semi-automatic rifle, opened fire on the unsuspecting crowd, unleashing a torrent of bullets that echoed through the air, shattering the tranquility of the day.
Chaos and panic ensued as people scrambled for cover, desperate to escape the hail of gunfire. The gunman, moving with chilling precision, continued his rampage, leaving a trail of carnage in his wake. By the time the gunfire ceased, 35 innocent lives had been extinguished, and 23 others lay wounded, their bodies and spirits forever scarred by the events of that day.
The Port Arthur massacre, as it came to be known, sent shockwaves throughout Australia and the world. It was a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked hatred and the easy accessibility of firearms. The Australian government, shaken to its core, responded swiftly, enacting strict gun control laws that remain some of the toughest in the world. Our journey into the darkness of Australian crime now takes us to the small town of Snowtown in South Australia, a place that would become synonymous with unimaginable horror. It was here in 1999 that a gruesome discovery would send chills down the spines of a nation.
The stench of decay hung heavy in the air as police officers approached a nondescript bank building. Inside, they stumbled upon a scene of unspeakable depravity. 6 plastic barrels, each containing the dismembered remains of human bodies, lay scattered across the floor. The victims, 8 in total, had been subjected to unimaginable torture and brutality before their untimely demise.
As investigators pieced together the puzzle of the Snowtown murders, a picture began to emerge of a twisted and depraved killer and his accomplices. John Bunting, the mastermind behind the killings, was a man driven by a perverse sense of morality and a hatred for those he deemed different. Bunting, along with his accomplices Robert Wagner and James Vlasakis, lured their victims, many of whom were from marginalized communities, to their deaths with promises of friendship and acceptance.
Once inside the walls of their various bodies in Barrel's murder houses, the victims were subjected to months of psychological and physical torture, their screams for mercy falling on deaf ears. The Snowtown murders shocked Australia to its core, not only for the sheer brutality of the crimes, but also for the chilling indifference with which they were carried out. It forced the nation to confront the dark underbelly of its society and the uncomfortable reality that monsters can lurk in the most unexpected of places. Chapter 3: The Backpacker Murders Terror on the Open Road. The vast and rugged beauty of the Australian outback, a source of national pride and a magnet for adventurers from around the globe, became a hunting ground for one of Australia's most notorious serial killers, Ivan Milat. In the early 1990s, a string of disappearances along a desolate stretch of highway in New South Wales sent shockwaves through Australia and beyond. Young backpackers, eager to explore the wonders of this vast land, vanished without a trace. Their families left clinging to hope, their fates shrouded in mystery. The discovery of the first bodies, deep within the Belanglo State Forest, confirmed the darkest of fears. Two British backpackers, Caroline Clark and Joanne Walters, had been brutally murdered, their bodies bearing the hallmarks of a depraved and sadistic killer.
As more bodies surfaced in the months that followed, a sense of dread and unease gripped the nation. The victims, 7 in total, all young backpackers from different corners of the globe, had been lured to their deaths by Milat, who often offered them rides or work opportunities.
Milat's reign of terror finally came to an end in 1994 when he was arrested after a dramatic standoff with police. During his trial, the full extent of his depravity was revealed, sending chills down the spines of even the most hardened observers. The backpacker murders cast a long shadow over Australia's international image, shattering the illusion of safety and adventure associated with its vast and untamed landscapes. It served as a stark reminder that even in paradise, darkness can lurk just around the bend. Chapter 4: The Anita Cobby Case, A Nation's Outrage. The brutal and senseless murder of 26-year-old nurse Anita Cobby in 1986 sent shockwaves through Australia, igniting a wave of grief, anger, and demands for justice that reverberated throughout the nation. Anita, a beloved daughter, sister, and friend, was walking home from Blacktown train station in Sydney's western suburbs when her life was tragically cut short. Abducted, brutally raped, and murdered by 5 men, her battered body was later found in a paddock, a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty.
The details of the crime, as they emerged during the trial, were so horrific, so depraved, that they shook the nation to its core. The 5 men responsible, brothers Michael, Gary, and Leslie Murphy, along with John Travers and Michael Murdoch, were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
The Anita Cobby case became a watershed moment in Australian criminal justice history. It sparked a national conversation about violence against women, the role of the justice system, and the need for tougher penalties for violent crimes.
Chapter 5: The Lindt Cafe Siege Terror in the heart of Sydney. The morning of December 15, 2014, began like any other in the bustling heart of Sydney, Australia. Commuters hurried to work, tourists snapped photos of the iconic Opera House, and the aroma of coffee wafted from cafes lining the streets. But at 9:44 a.m., the tranquility of the day was shattered, replaced by a scene of terror that would grip the nation and the world for the next 16 harrowing hours.
A lone gunman, Manharan Monis, entered the Lindt Cafe in Martin Place, a popular gathering spot in the heart of the city's central business district. Armed with a shotgun and claiming allegiance to ISIS, he took 18 people hostage, plunging the city into a state of lockdown and sparking a media frenzy that captivated the globe.
As heavily armed police surrounded the cafe and negotiators worked tirelessly to establish contact with Monis, the world watched in horror as the hostage drama unfolded live on television. Images of terrified hostages holding up a black flag with Islamic inscriptions sent chills down the spines of viewers around the world. Hours turned into an agonizing wait as Monis, a self-styled cleric with a history of violence and mental instability, made demands and issued threats.
The hostages, trapped inside the cafe, endured unimaginable fear and uncertainty, their every move scrutinized by the gunman and the world watching through the lens of news cameras. In the early hours of December 16th, after a tense standoff and the sound of gunshots echoing through the air, heavily armed tactical police stormed the cafe. The siege came to a dramatic and tragic end with 2 hostages, cafe manager Tori Johnson and barrister Katrina Dawson, losing their lives along with the gunman. The Lindt Cafe siege left an indelible mark on the Australian psyche, shaking the nation's sense of security and highlighting the growing threat of homegrown terrorism. It forced Australia to confront the uncomfortable reality that it was no longer immune to the global scourge of terrorism, and prompted a national conversation about security, multiculturalism, and the delicate balance between freedom and safety. Chapter 6: Reflections on a Nation's Scars, Remembering the Victims, Seeking Hope. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. Stay safe and take care. From the tranquil landscapes of Tasmania to the bustling heart of Sydney, the crimes we've explored today have left an indelible mark on Australia's soul. They serve as stark reminders of the fragility of peace, the ever-present potential for darkness, and the importance of vigilance and compassion in a world often marred by violence. As we reflect on these tragedies, let us remember the victims, their families, and the communities forever changed by these horrific events. Let us honor their memories by striving to create a safer, more just and compassionate world for all.